Welcome back to the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses, joined now by Chargers defensive end Rob Hill. Rob, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good, another day, I'm out here.
Well, Rob, you've actually played a big role in each of the last two games, coming up with sacks that result in touchdowns for your defense. Do you get any real satisfaction when one of your sacks results in a touchdown like that?
Yes, I get the ultimate satisfaction just because, I like being able to contribute as much as I can possibly. Some of the games I feel like if I'm not getting sacks or doing something for the team, then I'm not doing anything. So anything I could get, a forced fumble, whatever, as long as we score, as long as we do something, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, you seem to really have a knack for coming up with a big play when your team needs it. Would you say that you're one of the leaders on the defensive line?
I would say, because I'm one of the older players on the team, I tend to step up when I need to be, where coaches really know how to get under my skin to make me step up and do what I got to do.
This week's win versus the Yellow Jackets was by no means the prettiest victory your team had this season. But you yourself actually had a really beautiful play here. So let's take a look at that highlight that really shifted the momentum. First play of the second half. Tell us about what you read on this play.
So really, during the play, I really didn't read. It was sort of like the tackle went inside, and I had seen the play happen before. So I sort of saw it coming, and it was just I guessed right at here when I came at him. I seen him come out, so I attacked him. I didn't really mean to poke the ball, but, my hand was there. Knocked it out. I noticed it, before I could get to it. Risco just came out of nowhere like a flash and just took it and was gone.
Well, Bernard's been there before. He was an offensive player.
Yeah, he knew exactly what to do with it, put it that way.
With Tom Hurd out of the lineup this week, did you feel any extra pressure to produce this week?
Well, I really didn't feel no extra pressure. It was more because last season, Tom was out for a while just because of his injury and whatnot. And, with him there, it's a big advantage. I got somebody to my right side or to my left or whatever the case may be. He's out there, he really brings a lot to the table. But I feel like, a lot of our secondary, third-string players, they really step it up and they really have the potential to do great things. So they did their thing. They came out there, they made the plays and everything. I personally like having Tom to my side just because, that's one of my closest friends, I tend, me and him tend to, feed off of each other. But, it's the same thing with everybody else, They did their jobs and, they came through.
The middle of your defensive line has been terrific this year. We've seen a resurgence from Rahim Stanley, and Scott Schultz just returned from injury. Does it really make your job easier when you have two guys with the size and strength that you have in the middle of your line?
Well, a lot easier. Coming off the edge, a lot of times the quarterback will step inside, and, that makes it hard for us because I got to make an inside move or I got to, make another read, whereas with Stanley and, Schultz out there, even with a Met, they drive up the middle, they get past the guards, they make the quarterback have to step out, which makes it easy for me because while he's watching them, I can sneak in and get that hit.
Every week it seems, there's a guy that's sort of an unsung hero, a guy that makes a play but it doesn't really show up in the box score. Did you see a guy on Saturday that really did that?
I guess, in the first half, I feel like everybody sort of was on the same level of just emotions weren't really into the game. We were in there, but we weren't. I felt like in the second half, Ronnie stepped up. Curvin made a big play. He's a second-string player, and he stepped up this week when Hurd being out, and he made a big play with the interception. Rahim had an extremely good game the whole game. He really produced and whatnot. So I would say really between them two and just little players in between there was really making plays. I feel like we all sort of did what we had to do when we needed to do it to get it done.
You're one of the guys that's been here since the beginning of the return of this program. You've now been with this team 4 years. What is it really like to grow with this team?
Well, I feel it's a family, I was always the older player coming in. I transferred from Dean College. I was turning 21. Everyone else was really sophomores. Coming in besides me was just, I think Brian LaSure came in the next year and he was a junior. So at the time it was just, I was the older guy and it's just everyone sort of molded together. Whereas then you come into most colleges and you get players that, you got the upperclassmen, you got the freshmen. They tend to be upperclassmen, be with upperclassmen, freshmen be with freshmen. But we all were in the same boat when we first got here. So we sort of molded together and we just grew. So, I feel like, we're a close unit, like a family, so to say.
Yeah, it seems like on every team, there's one guy that steps in from day one and just gets better and better. Now that you've been here for 4 years, is there a guy that's really surprised you with the way he's improved since he's gotten here?
Well, I guess from what I've seen is probably Desmond Anderson. When he first came here, he was a cornerback and he was fighting for a starting position with Kendrick Butler. And, he was really good, but we had Kendrick, we had John Jackson, we had a lot of great corners. And, Dez over at Becker, where he was at before he came here, he was a running back, he really they switched him to defense, and Des really stepped it up and just turned it into his own thing. You know, he really like if any player has excelled and gotten better, I feel like he's gotten a lot better.
Well, you're a business management major here at the University of New Haven. Do you have any plans for what you'd like to do after college?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard being just like management is such a broad like category, just like where I can be a manager at. I really would rather have my own and just start like entrepreneurial type things, start my own business up, maybe in sporting goods or something with sports. I thought that after I graduated, maybe like I could do something in business, like maybe Wall Street, but like I can't do it without sports. I have to have something with sports. So. Right.
Do you envision yourself maybe working for an NFL team or maybe coaching at the high school or college level?
I want to say coaching. You know, I'm more of a doer than a coacher, but I would say maybe like managing, helping out, you know, fundraising, stuff like that. You know, the other stuff that people don't really hear about on the football field. You know, I'm pretty sure I could do that. That's something I would like to do.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining us here on the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show.
Thanks for having me.
For more, be sure to tune in to NewHavenChargers.com, or for a completely student perspective, be sure to tune to charliescavalry.wordpress.com.